Today we're going to have a blast of conversation. We've got Mr. Rob Lipsett, who's had about 50 milligrams of caffeine today, and cycled in on his electric bike.
And an eccentric character.
Yeah. So you can tell how this is going to go. So the first question I wanted to ask you, Rob, is in terms of since you've been in the game and you've blown up your brand and business in terms of YouTube, how do you think that's changed over the years since you first began?
Yeah, so when I entered into the fitness industry and sort of make a name for myself, you're kind of the same. You entered around the same time. This 2015, 2016 era, it was very skin tight tracksuit bottoms, Gymshark stringer, fake natties everywhere. And people, like, the way to grow in the industry back then was simply just be as jacked and lean as possible.
Would you say it was easier back then?
Oh, yeah,
in
for
some
sure.
respects.
And easier, but not in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, so basically, right, that was the buzz back then. Go to expos, take your top off, just post. You couldn't even post videos on Instagram. There was no reels or anything. So it was just look shredded, and it was all based on looks, and that's kind of how you grew. YouTube, of course, was a little bit more detailed. You had to do vlogs, and you had to actually show your personality. But with Instagram and all, it was very, very primitive. And nowadays, the way to grow, you actually don't need a great physique anymore. Obviously, it really helps, but it's all about the information and the value you provide. And people appreciate realness a lot more in the fitness industry today. So I think it's progress. I think that's good. Of course, having a sick physique is great and motivates people. Looks crazy. I think it's a great thing. It's going to help your brand so much. It's going to get eyes on your brand. And if you stack that with good information, you're rare, So, because a lot of the guys with such good physiques, they're like, oh, I don't need to be real.
They're just stupid.
They're just meatheads. They're actual meatheads. So if you have a great physique, just like yourself, and good information, good information as well, you're on to a winner. But I think that is how the industry has changed. YouTube has gotten a little bit less vloggy, but I think vlogs are making a comeback now after people want a bit more personal touch. I think vlogs will always be great to add on to the information. But in terms like Instagram and vertical and all, it's gone very informative based. You got to have that text on the screen.
I think one of the things you said there is really important. It's one of the things I explain to a lot of people with why they are succeeding, why they're not. It's like skill stacking. Like, it's the force multiplier effect. It's like, if you're in really good shape, you can communicate well, and you know what the fuck you're talking about, you're going to do well. Whereas, like, you can have the best information, be good at communicating, but if you're like 50 pounds overweight and trying to sell a fitness product, it's not going to work.
There's no congruency. It just doesn't connect. And I actually saw, there's a few guys actually, they're in like Ireland and the UK, and their information is like really good, but they're like camera quality shit, the audio is shit, they don't look after themselves, they don't even kind of wear stuff that comes across well on camera. I'm like, just have a little shave and stick your hair up, and it would just, your information is fantastic, so you might as well just package it well. So there's no point in pretending that we don't live in a society that appreciates aesthetics, that appreciates looks. That's not just in the fitness industry, that's in anything. If you're a well put together lad and you walk into a room, people are going to respect you more. So it still does matter.
Well, it's first impressions. I think you've also got to look at setting yourself up for success. And one of the things I think about all the time is, I spoke about this on another podcast earlier, is introverted thinking of like, if I wanted to do really badly on social media, what would I do? I'd like be really out of shape, not look presentable, be bad at communicating, have bad information. So like, if you do all the opposite of those things, you're probably going to do pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's very simple.
For sure. And then it's just showing up, every day for many, many years, and be patient and genuinely enjoy the process.
You mentioned enjoying the process. You sound like American. Process. What does that look like for you, and why do you think so many people struggle with that? Because I think the reason people struggle with enjoying the process, they're doing it for the wrong reason. Because I think about this a lot of like, why the fuck am I doing all this stuff?
Yes. But
I actually just enjoy the game rather than the byproduct of the things that come with it. I don't know what else I would do.
Yeah, so I genuinely love fitness. I'm still like a kid that gets excited over a fresh tub of protein and taking the seal off. and trying a new pre-workout and like going to a new gym and like seeing an angle of myself and recording
new ad vein.
I'm still like living in 2015 in some ways. Like I've never lost that like that joy and that kind of innocence with like just the love of fitness and everything. And so that's why for me, you know, there's nothing else I'm gonna do, and like I haven't lost that spark within me. And so I just love it every day. Like, you know, I just like when I get a sick YouTube video and I'm just like, I'll watch it. Oh, I don't care if anyone watches it. I'm going to watch it. And so I think people get into the fitness industry, for example, or any industry, just because, you know, they're jumping on a trend. And they just think like, hey, you know, I've gone to the gym for a month straight now. Like maybe I should be a PT and start making fitness content. So their heart's not in it, and they don't genuinely love it. And you got to be able to show up and do something for months, if not years, without seeing results, and just be like, hey, I'd just be doing this anyways. So you know, that's what enjoying the process looks like.
And I think with enjoying the process, you can see the people who do like doing it and those who don't from actually how consistent and committed they are.
Yes.
Because they turn up every fucking day. Fucking day. And what I don't understand is like, we live in a world of special snowflakes where someone like, they post a piece of content for 2 weeks and then like, oh, I haven't got any fitness clients or whatever. It's like, dude, like, just fucking keep doing it. I've done like 7,000 posts on Instagram. Like, it doesn't fucking happen overnight sometimes.
I've actually never seen someone, like, I mean, 100% success rate, 100%. I've never seen someone just show up every day for years that didn't end up getting where they want to be. I've never seen it. I've seen like, this sounds bad. I've seen people with like fucking terrible talent and everything, and they suck, but they just turn up every day, they get better over time, and they make it. Yeah, so it's a 100% success rate. Honestly, I've never seen anyone fail.
And with you even saying that, I'm thinking of a few people politely who we've worked with and helped build their businesses to like 50K a month, and even sometimes I'm team joking like, how the fuck have they done that?
Yeah, it's like, got banter.
It's like, how has this person done this? But like,
tell me actually, like, just now that you mentioned that, like, so let's say someone, you know, so what you do, you 7-figure scale systems.
Yeah, so we help people scale.
You train coaches to make more money, grow their business. So let's say I hit you up, I contact you, we get enrolled. What's the first thing you do?
First thing we do is really audit your business and break down like what the bottlenecks are, because you're always going to have like one point of constraint that's limiting you back. And the reason most people aren't growing in their business is the fact that they're actually focusing on the wrong things. So the reason their business has been stuck for 12 months, they're focusing in the wrong area. So like, I'll give you a good example. I love marketing. I'm really good at marketing. So I would naturally try and fix all problems in the business with marketing, because I want to go and do that thing and try and like outmarket a problem. But the problem might not be marketing, might be our sales team is shit, or our offer's bad, or if churn is really bad. So it's identifying what the problem is, which you're going to identify from numbers within the business. For most fitness coaches, it's going to be they're not selling high enough prices, they're terrible at sales, they're shit at content, and they can't book calls. Normally one of those three things.
That's really, you just nailed it there with those four things.
Like if you are making less than 20K a month, it's going to be one of those three things.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. And so the funny one that you said with sales, I hate sales calls. I get people to like, obviously do them for me in most cases. But if it's a really good like prospect, really good lead, I'll jump on it as well. But I'm so bad because like if someone's signing up to like my coaching program or something, they're really like me and they've been watching my content for years. So I always feel like really bad, almost like selling, because I want to give it for free, But no, you can't. So my expertise or my take on that is hire people that are better than you.
Oh, and I think, but that's the game. It's like, focus on what you're really good at, and if you're weaker in an area, you develop that to a certain point, and that's the point where you are at a level you can get someone else to do it. You then get them someone to do it. Like
exactly. And so we always hear like the word scale, and this is what scale means to me. Everyone's like, it's in your company's name. Everyone's like scale. So for me is get other people to do the stuff that other people can do. For example, you focus on the shit only you can do. No one else can speak on camera and be Rob Lipsett. So that's the main thing I have to do. Someone can do my sales calls, someone can be in my DMs, someone can do my marketing. I've assistant coaches, to do the plans, onboarding and everything. Loads of people can do that, but no one can do, the content, the marketing. So I think that's what has helped me the most in the last couple of years is just outsourcing and taking yourself out of the business and just doing the things that only you can do.
And that's where most people get stuck, because I would say that one of the big problems people think is like, oh, they only want to be coached by Rob. They only want to be coached by Charlie. And this is a limiting belief we tell ourselves, because ultimately no one really cares. They just want the end result.
I've got one. Go on.
And the reality with that is that if you don't actually take yourself out of the business, you can't grow the business, because the goal is you want to be working on the business, not in it. And also what you need to be doing is focusing on your zone of genius, the thing you're good at. And for entrepreneurs, when they're looking to grow their business, what's important is that you have some ability in every area, so you understand it, whether it's sales, video editing, Facebook ads, whatever.
Yeah.
So that when you're actually hiring and managing someone, you actually have a clue about what they're talking about. They're not bullshitting you.
Exactly. So I had a very brief chat with Phil Graham.
Yeah. No,
yeah, great, absolute
really nice
legend, smashed it. And so we just talked about just that, because I think it was maybe like, I started high ticket coaching like maybe 3 years ago.
Yep.
And so I did my first big cohort. And, I got loads of people in, and I marketed it as like, this is just one-on-one. There's no team. And it was fucking stressful. Like, people would get pissed off.
I think they own you, right?
There. Man, exactly. It made me hate it. And like, if you don't respond like straight away, like, as if you've no life, that like people get pissed off. And so I kind of like, I did that cohort. Everyone got really good results, and 90% of it went fantastic, but it's very stressful. And so I had a chat with him, and he was like, you're spinning it the wrong way. You're saying like, hey, this is going to be just me. Whereas when you're doing your stories or whatever, or the call, you'd be like, you'll be working with me and my team, and we're going to get you this result. And like you said, people just sign up because they want to get a certain result. And so I've started doing that for every other cohort. And, fucking chilled. I just think there's a few guys that like my assistant coach more than me. But dude, more chill.
You laugh, but I actually spoke at some podcast earlier. It's true, because the coaches in our business and our fitness business still, they are way better than I am, because they have more time to give to these people. Because I'm trying to do all this other shit. I would tick the box, do the thing, and give them advice. But it wouldn't be going above and beyond, because I'm trying to do other things.
Exactly.
And this is why it's important for you to actually understand the best thing you can do from a business perspective is actually move them to the coach, because the client will get a better result. But also, like, something I think about a lot is life by design. I know you have a great lifestyle. Like, what's the life you want? For me, I don't want to be on fucking Zoom calls all day and doing 1,000 check-ins.
Yeah.
So I will build the business around the lifestyle I want, not build my life around slaving to clients.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, and I'm big on that. I call it like, being an architect of your own life, and like just think that's exactly what I did. You can even go back to like my first ever videos. I look about 10 years old, and it's like my third ever video. It's like Q&A, and someone's like, Rob, like, why are you doing this? What are you like starting this for? And I'm like, I laid out pretty much my ideal day. And I was like, I want my life to be like that. And I just reverse engineered it. And it's so crazy to look back on. It's gone exactly as planned. And there's been some bumps along the way. But the best thing to do is just ask yourself, how would your ideal day go? And then what do you need to do to make it look like that? And yeah, like you said, it's cool. I could make more money if I was on Zoom calls all day, but I don't want that. So you're sacrificing your ideal life, really.
And also, you also have to look from a leverage perspective, because the way I look at business is building a machine. So like, I want this to run autonomously, like without me. So our fitness business, I have no real involvement with. That runs without me, makes money, helps people, all good.
Yeah.
And that's the point in terms of for you to actually grow a business. And this is what I try to teach people, is that you actually need to be very lazy. I'm actually very lazy. So I will try and find an efficient solution to every problem, whether it's a process or a person to come in and deal with the thing at a higher level, so I can then move on to the next thing, which is a high leverage task. Like you and me sitting here on this podcast will get views for the next 100 years.
Evergreen.
Whereas if you or me were on a sales call, there's an hour of a time just gone that you're bringing it back.
Right? Yeah. You got to be smart with your time. And that's why I also love like podcasts and YouTube videos. I just had an old podcast just randomly hit the Explorer.
Really?
Yeah, it's just fantastic. Yeah, and I'm just like huge boost in leads and everything. And I'm just like, man, that's where it's at.
That's why I think YouTube is still the king of platforms.
100%.
Like I think it's getting even more so because of the way I personally think the algorithms are getting stronger in terms of Google and YouTube, the way it's like you mentioned there, just randomly pushes stuff out.
Yeah, whereas that doesn't happen on Instagram or something.
Bro, you're not going to get a reel from a year ago suddenly pop. Like,
yeah,
out of the blue.
Never.
Like it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, if it doesn't happen the first day, it's done. Like,
you're done.
Yeah. Like, in an hour if a reel's worked. Like, you're like, this is fucked.
Yeah. No, YouTube is still the king, and no one has ever came up to me. Like, I meet people in the gym every day in Marbella, and or just walking around the street in Dublin, of course. Well, that's where my main audience is from, and no one has ever came up to me and has been like, "Hey, Rob, I love your Instagram pictures." I'm like, "Well, that's kind of weird." It's like, but everyone always comes up and they're like, "Rob, I love your YouTube videos."
Yeah.
Hey, or I love your podcast. When you broke this down, no one's like, "I love your ab selfie."
Yeah.
So to build that relationship, to build that community, and actually have like stuff to say to someone, I think it's all about video content.
It's funny you say that because I've had a couple of people since I've been here in Marbella come up to me from YouTube.
Yeah.
Whereas my Instagram audience is way bigger.
Man, I'm telling you, so this is another one as well. I was able to quit my 9 to 5 like way back when I had like honestly 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like that was more than enough to fill my coaching spaces, sell some merch and sell some Alphalete and whatever my protein I was with at the time. That was enough to quit my job. Whereas I just got like 30,000 followers on TikTok, made zero difference.
Yeah,
I made a zero difference to my business. So I think like YouTube, if you can just even get a small following, if your videos are even getting like 5 or 10K views, that's a lot of people sitting down to watch a long video, so it's a lot more impactful.
What's the biggest lesson you think you've learned of YouTube over the years?
You got to be yourself, and I know that sounds really cringy. It sounds very cliche, but you gotta be yourself and talk about stuff that you want to talk about, and you'll kind of learn a lot about yourself as well, and it makes you a way better speaker, and it makes you a way better communicator because you're pretty much like when people record themselves in the gym to get better exercises, you're just doing that with your life. And so like it makes you way better podcast, public speaking, everything. Like I jumped on your stage in Dubai and I was just doing a YouTube video, So that's it. So it's be real, be yourself, and also realize it's going to make you a way better person. Like I know this sounds crazy, but like probably the best personal development thing I've ever done is just start speaking on camera.
Why do you think so many people struggle with the confidence to do that?
That's a good question. I think a lot of people, it's kind of like what we spoke about briefly, that people, when they don't see immediate results at the start, they get pissed off and they just say, fuck this. Be it fitness, be it business, or be it they just see their first clip on camera and they're like, oh, I hate that. And no one has the patience to just work hard at it and kind of embrace the shitty start and just enjoy the process and get better at it over time. People like in today's day and age, there's an extreme lack of patience. I think it's got something to do with social media. I can't think of any other thing that would impact it, but nowadays we just want to swipe and see instant results. We want the 6-pack abs in 6 days, I was about to say 6 weeks, but it's gone down to like 6 days now.
Well, like 6 hours.
Yeah, 6 hours. Yeah, pretty much. And so yeah, people want immediate results and they're not prepared to suck ass at the start.
And I think the reality is that like anything in life, you're going to suck ass. It's like if I look at the first YouTube videos, first podcast, they're fucking awful.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, like I was sitting in my shed in my garden in Surrey with a microphone talking to myself. I'm like, this is really fucking weird,
bro.
Like really fucking weird.
So I've purposely, a lot of people they'll delete their first few videos when they.
No, I leave mine up because I think it's funny.
I leave mine up, and
so it shows where you came from.
I honestly go look back at them frequently when I need some motivation. I'll go look at some of my old videos, and I'll be like sometimes I'm very hard on myself, and I'm like, oh, I need to be doing more. I need to be doing this and that. And then Linda's actually great at all. She'd be like, Rob, look at your like first ever videos. Like, look at this picture of you. Like, look where you were. Like, you need to zoom out and realize how far you come. So those videos are very precious to me.
It's interesting you say that because I think as type A men, you never feel like you're doing enough, and it's constantly that hedonic treadmill of like, need to do more, need to do more, need to do more, need to make more money, need more followers, need more likes, need more like. And I think sometimes women are very good to ground men to give you perspective, to be like, you're being a fucking retard, Charlie, you're being stupid, Rob. Like, look at like how far you've come in a short period of time. Yeah,
exactly. But you know what? Like it's a good thing. It's a good thing. If you're not hating on yourself enough.
But that's why I think you have to. So like, I had that like not argument. I had that discussion with my girlfriend Charlie who's also called Charlie, who I also
I did not know that.
who I also like. I push her really hard, and she gets frustrated sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, you think I push you hard? It's like if you saw the internal dialogue in my own head every day, you have fucking no idea of like how bad the standards are. Like if I don't get up at if I'm not on my laptop at 6 a.m. and like you're a piece of shit. Why are you not doing
Show
why are you
yourself in the mirror?
Yeah, literally.
But it's good. Like, look, that's how I'm pretty sure Alex Hormozy made like a little take on this. He was like the most common traits between the biggest high performers I know. He named like 3 of them, and one of them was like extremely tough on yourself. And I love myself. I love my life and everything. But sometimes you got to be hard on yourself. And some people say, oh, it's unhealthy and everything. But I think it gets shit done.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's also, we live in a world where everyone's trying to soften society. But I think you need to be hard on yourself, because I think one of the problems why, if you look at like a lot of people watching this will be online trainers.
Yeah.
The biggest problem that happens, they get to make 10K a month. I don't know if this happened in your business.
Yeah.
And then on fucking cruise control, because I can travel a bit, I'm making a bit of money.
Yeah.
And then they stay at that level for like 12 months and the business falls apart.
Yeah.
And that is because you got complacent, because you're not pushing yourself to higher standards. And you need to raise your standards constantly, because then that's what's going to constantly push you to do more.
Yeah.
And then you'll be in the frame of mind where, like Linda says to you, like, look back, Rob, look what you fucking done.
Yeah.
Because you kept pushing your standards.
Exactly. And what you said there, just that word complacency as well. It's very easy as a business owner when things are going well to just slip into that. And so one thing that I always remind myself of, okay, and this is probably the biggest tip I have, if you're an entrepreneur, or even if you want to get big on YouTube, on social media, anything where you can see like analytics and stuff, okay, you're going to have these months where you blow up and you get loads of money and the account's going up and everything. And then you're going to have some fucking terrible months where there's no growth, your income is going down, it dips. Life for an entrepreneur is like this, right? If you want to work that steady, same salary every month, go get a more conventional job. So life for an entrepreneur is dips and waves and everything. You got to remain stoic throughout it. When you're going through low times, it's all right. We'll get out of this. And even more importantly, when you're going through high times, don't get complacent and don't get up on your high horse. I actually think that's more important. When things are going so well, don't kick back and relax, maybe even push harder. So that's my biggest piece of advice as an entrepreneur, is to try remain stoic during all the highs and lows.
Here's a story. I remember the biggest kick in the balls that reminds me of that. I probably at one point when I was starting to get big for my boots. I remember in November 2021, I made 300K for the first time. And I was like, thought I was fucking God's gift, because that's a lot in fitness coaching.
That's fucking loads. That's what like a doctor earns in like a year.
And I remember then I went to Dubai like a couple of weeks later. I ended up moving to Dubai in January. I had a really difficult time, ended up splitting up from my ex-wife at the time. Remember it was the 6th of January. I had a conversation with her about like, I'm leaving, gave her the house. Basically got rid of all my personal possessions, was moving to Dubai. I was sitting in
the answer to everything, just moved to Dubai.
Yeah.
Started a new life.
And then I was sitting about to talk on a big podcast in a Hilton Hotel in Kingston, and I opened my phone on my Instagram. My Instagram account got disabled. I was like, fuck. And I was like, okay, my personal life's falling apart. My business is fucked. Because I didn't have all these other things set up at the time of like multiple lead flows and stuff.
Yeah.
And that for me was like, holy shit, this is how quickly things can be taken away. And that's always a lesson I will learn from like anyone listening to this. If you're getting a bit ahead of yourself, like no matter how successful you are, the rug can get pulled very, very quickly.
Oh yeah.
Which is why, like you said earlier, it made me think is that whenever like I'm having a really good month, I'm like, remember something bad's going to happen at some point. So just like embrace the joy you feel now and just be prepared for the shit's going to come. And that's normal, because it's going to be like ups and downs, but I think the longer you've done this, the same thing for you, you know there's going to be problems, there's going to be great success, but it's just like fighting day in and day out is what's going to get you through at the end.
Exactly. And what you just said there, there's another quote. It's like, the worst day of your life is yet to happen, but so is your best one. So, exactly. So just keep on going.
I think perspective is sometimes something you can lose. I'll give you, actually, me and a friend of mine, Chris Beerman, were talking WhatsApp the other day. And I was like, oh yeah, I just want to try and make 30K a month passively from property investment, and I can live like rent free. I can just chill out. Yeah. And he was like, just look at what you just said, and then look back to 2013 when we first met. Like, you need 30 grand a month to live off.
I know.
He was like, just let that sink in.
Oh my God.
But like,
I need $1,000 a day to spend on what?
But it's when your standards like raise in life in terms of your expectations, and I think this is also where if you put yourself around the right people and you also have the right environment around you, you think bigger, then you take bigger actions. And I think you came from Ireland, which a lot of people have different beliefs. I came from a very rural area in the UK, in the countryside. So it's like when you start to put yourself in more powerful environments, your perspective changes and so does your actions.
Exactly. So when you're from a small place, there's only so much people you can meet. And then it's like your industry is even smaller. So like, let's say, okay, we have the whole of Ireland. There's only so much people I can meet. You have the fitness industry in Ireland. There's very limited amount of connections and people to meet. So that's why it's very important to, you know, branch out and start flying all over the world and going to different areas and networking with different people. Like I remember the first time I was kind of like, I was really getting into the whole fitness scene. This is like maybe 2016 and the LA Fit Expo was on. And I was like, I just need to, I see everyone online going there, all the YouTubers I follow, like all the Alpha crew, they're all going to be there. I'm like, I just need to go. And so plane ticket was like $1,000 or something, you know, which I was broke at the time pretty much. And I went anyways, and like I hung out at like the booth for free pretty much. And then I found out like all the athlete people, like Christian and all, were going to this gym, Barbell Brigade in LA. And I was like, they're going at like 7 p.m. for a workout. And like, I'm just going to go and I'm going to like hover around and like just try meet them and give off good energy. And, you know, I vlog and everything and help them record. And then now that ended up like me being best friends with Christian and having, I think I've been sponsored by Athlete for 8 years now. And so it was all just came from putting myself in that position. So you got to get out, you know, you got to get out physically of where you're from and also mentally where you're from too.
Do you ever think about how your life would be if you didn't do that trip?
Oh, so one thing I'm big on is the butterfly effect.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, first of all, great movie. Ashton Kutcher.
Facts.
Great movie. But even just like the whole, what that movie is based on is super interesting. So anyone listening doesn't know, it's like a butterfly flapping its wings across the world can have a domino effect on, you know, what you do now. So you got to realize every single decision and every single move that you have made in your life has led you to exactly where you are now. It's fucking heavy, isn't it?
Well, you say when you think about weird shit, like there's so many different paradigms, different things. But even I think of my life of like, there's things called inflection points where you make one decision that changes the entire course of your life. Like for me, maybe going to Dubai or me leaving my full-time job, and probably similar for you of maybe leaving your full-time job, you moving to Marbella, you going to that gym and going to that event in LA.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing that like is the catalyst that changes everything. It's
crazy. So if anyone's watching, listen right now, do the thing.
You mentioned Christian. What do you think? His work ethic is insane, and I love his stuff I see on YouTube. What's the biggest thing you've learned from him?
So just like what you said, I realized how hard I don't work. Like I've spent lots of time with him. He's actually coming here next month again, for the wedding. And he was here last year as well. We were doing an athlete documentary, and so I've always been to Texas. I'd stay at his house. You know, I'd sleep on his couch sometimes. If I'm waiting for a flight or whatever. And so I was staying his, and I'd wake up. I'd be like, what is that? And it's like 4 a.m. He's just working on his laptop, you know? And I'm like, have you gone to sleep? And he's like, no, I've been here all night. Like, he's legit a crazy hard worker. And like, you know, what is hard work? It's like, he's literally sitting at his laptop, you know, on calls, on his phone, just putting in the hours, like putting in 24-hour days, you know. So that's probably what I've learned the most from him. Self-belief as well. Like, you know, he believes he can just do anything really, and fucking he pretty much can. But it's just simply hard work. Like, it's not just for like Instagram and YouTube. I see him just like, he's not posting or anything. He's just literally putting in the hours.
It's interesting what you say. So Christian believes he can do anything, but if you look, his work ethic also matches that.
Oh, man, maybe even more so. You know, maybe even surpasses that, the belief, you know. It's crazy. Like, I've never actually had this conversation with Paul Daly as well. Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, does E-Man really, you know, work so much? And I think E-Man and Christian are kind of similar in a way. Yeah. And Paul was like, yes, you know, it's the real deal. So all these people that you see online that are like just at the very top, they all put in the work. Like, there's no way around it. Everyone does, you know. There's no one who can, you just can't cheat the grind. There's no one who can get past like just putting in sheer hours. Why
do you think there's this conception that you can just skip the queue and get to the front? Because that's almost what I think a lot of people in the beginning phases think that, say, someone like Eman or Christian or you or me think that you made a couple of videos and off you go, that's it. But like they don't see how much has really gone into it over the years.
Exactly. I think people don't realize, and like even when you see like a really good physique in the gym, you know, people will be very quick to be like steroids and all this, because people love to make themselves feel better and they love to give excuses. So when people see someone in a really high up position, they don't want to believe this dude just put in the fucking hours. They're like, nah, there has to be a way, like rich family, rich parents, you know, nah, there's got to be a way. And so it just simply comes down to people love making excuses and they want to make themselves feel better.
I think with the excuses, I think too many people actually tell themselves a lie with like their own work ethic. And it's like they think that they're not worthy of doing something, so they start trying to pull other people down a lot. And I think that's something you see, as horrendous as this is to say, I think I could say because I'm British, and I would say probably the same for Ireland, is that British culture is awful for pulling people down who are successful or trying to go and be different and do their thing. Whereas in America, this is what I love, the entrepreneurial spirit in America is like, they would rather you went and set up the business and you had a fucking go and it went bankrupt than you just stayed safe in the 9 to 5.
Exactly, because they love the American dream.
Yeah.
They love a story. But Ireland is, and the UK, they're very, very similar, like town size and everything. So yeah, if you come from like a small town or even a small country, you're gonna get that hate, because when people see you doing different, I'm going in on this, right? When people see you doing different, they don't like it. It's strange. They say, hey, you know, get back in your place. You're meant to be doing the exact same as us. And then to go one step further, when people see you make it, like they see you living a great life and you're from their town, it drives them insane, because they're like, fuck, I could have done that. He came from the exact same road as me. I could have done the exact same thing, and now he's killing it. So people will get very angry at that when you're from your own hometown. Like I never get like some random Americans hating on me. Yeah,
Facts.
Yeah, exactly. They're so don't care. They're like, hey, go and be Irish kid.
Yeah.
You know. So when people, you come from that small town, you got to be prepared for a little bit of criticism. And also when you go to like a city that's massive, like New York or California, or even like here in Marbella, where like there's fucking yachts and sports cars and everything, no one gives a shit, you know?
Same as
no
Dubai.
one gives a yeah, same as Dubai. That's probably the best example, actually. You got like princes.
Yeah, literally no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, it's literally mega wealth that like you're almost irrelevant in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, no one's bothered hating on you. So it's just when, you know, you go to these big places that you actually feel very free.
And this is something actually I would say to anyone listening to this who's maybe gets trolled or gets any abuse, is flip it on his head. Even ironically, 2-3 hours ago, I saw someone made an account trolling me for whatever reason. And I've had a bit of this recently, and it's always like cynical bodybuilders in the UK of whatever reason. Yeah. And I see it as a point of success, because if you see the people who are successful, they always get people who start fucking hating on them for like no apparent reason. And this is where I think, for me, I use that as fuel to the fire. So like, fuck you to prove a point even more.
Yeah.
And it's a saying I put on my Instagram yesterday, and I thought it was fucking beautiful. And it's chips on shoulders, put chips in pockets.
Oh, nice.
And it's like, so for me, sometimes I play so many mental games of like trying to create fights with people psychologically in my head to motivate me, that it then gives me more fuel to the fire to be like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And this is a really good book I'd recommend. It's called, and I thought it was insane thinking about this until I read this book, and it's Choose Your Enemies Wisely by Patrick Bet-David. Basically talking about how you need to have someone you're trying to compete with, and then you've got to beat that person, and then you've got to get a bigger enemy you need to go and compete with. So then you take a bigger action
way
to
to
compete
gauge
with.
things. Yeah, Patrick Bet-David, he's an animal as well. He's a good dude.
100%.
Yeah.
Who is it who inspires you?
So a lot of the people that inspired me to begin, at the start, that I'm like friends with now, or they were like.
Do you think that's a weird thing? Because I've noticed a few times I've sat around, I'm like you, for example, whoever, like I'm like, these are all the people I used to watch and used to like idolize, who then become my friends or in my network. I'm like, this is full circle,
crazy. Like honestly, it's surreal. And I still I started my journey like maybe like 8-9 years ago, and for me that feels like it's been 3 years. Partly due to COVID, because that was like 3 years, which is life was like on hold. Like it's like even like kind of fast forwarded life. You know, 1 minute it's 2019, then it's 2021. You're like, what the fuck? But yeah, so I feel like I've only been doing this like a short number of years, so it's all still very surreal to me. And like that's why I'm so happy and always in a great mood, because I'm just like, I can't believe it. You know, like it's crazy. People that I used to queue up to meet, that I'm now working with, and you know, we're everyone like even our circle of guys that do our same things as us. We're all like helping each other out and speaking at each other's events and making connections for each other, and it's a really nice feeling, and it's wild to think of. It's crazy.
That's why, though, I think that people watching this and listening to this need to dream bigger, because there'll be people watching this and listening to this who were in the position we were maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, you could be us right now.
Yeah.
But no, it's the reality.
Yeah, I know
that
sounds cocky, but it's true.
But it's true,
Yeah,
because
true.
like the reality is, you could, if you keep doing consistent, keep doing the right actions, you do the shit like Rob, go to a random event in LA and you turn up there. Like, I do a lot of weird stuff where I go to events just, or like masterminds, just because I want to meet one person.
Yeah.
I want to speak to one person, get that connection, and that one connection, I end up becoming friends with them, and that changes the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Because you're one person away from a different life.
Yeah, it's crazy, and just putting yourself out there, like it's got a high ROI. You know, you never know what's going to happen.
Why do you think, in terms of like British society, we're very reserved? I think more than Irish.
Yeah,
Irish people are very outspoken.
We got a lot of alcohol in our system. You know, the stereotype is real.
But like in the UK, I think one of the reasons people struggle from a business perspective is like, if you walk down the street and someone in London talks to you, like, what the fuck do you want? Like, whereas in America, someone can't, be like, oh, I like your hair, I like your shoes, just like randomly like engage in nice, polite conversation.
Yeah.
Or like you go into an elevator, they'll talk to you. Yeah. Whereas like on the tube, it's like silence. It's a strange cultural difference, I think.
I think it's the weather.
I would disagree.
I actually think that is literally the reason. Like, that is the only difference. Like, everyone here in Marbella in Spain, everyone's fucking jacked, beautiful, and tanned, and the sun is constantly shining. And people actually, they always think, oh, Marbella is full of dickheads, real pretentious. No way. I've met like the nicest people, and even all the Spanish locals here are so happy to meet you, and you know, they're all lovely people. So I think it just must be like the climate, the atmosphere, and what your day-to-day life is like. Like, if you're waking up in like, and it's the windows got fucking rain pelting at it, then you go in the tube, and then you sit in this artificial light at a desk for 9 hours a day, and then you go outside, it's dark by now. And then you get on the tube again, and you go home, and you eat your microwave meal, and you watch like this shitty box TV. You're going to be in a bad mood, you know? Compare that to like the Spanish. Yeah, they don't work as hard. They're chilling, but like they go to the beach in the evenings, and you know, they're all like working outside. They're all very active. Like they say, there's a lot of people gardening and everything. They're all getting outside. They have a very long life expectancy. I think it's just the overall day-to-day life that makes people happier and less grumpy.
You mentioned life expectancy. A good question to ask would be, if you could go back, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give yourself when you started?
It would be, so observe what the majority of people are doing and just do the complete opposite. That's always my answer to that, and that's what I would tell myself. My answer, it's like kind of the same answer, but just said it differently, is, you know, take the path of take the more difficult route, pretty much. Yeah, and that's always going to pay off. So like all my friends and, you know, all the people that I knew from school or college, you know, you get an internship, and, you know, you clock in, and that's it. And there's nothing like very different, you know, but I was literally the only person who kind of had the balls to make a fool of himself and start recording himself in the gym and speaking on camera like we went back to, and it just paid off, you know, and now I'm living like my dream life. It's crazy to say that out loud.
What you said there is one of the important things that I think a lot about in terms of marketing perspective, is contrarian thinking. So I said this in a YouTube video of why Alex Hormozy is wrong recently, because
I gotta watch that video.
It's good. Yeah. He basically is pushing that people do low ticket programs on school on organic traffic, but he actually built his
hand-eye coordination gone.
He built too many monsters. Or ghosts. He built his business gym launch on paid ads and high ticket. So like, what happens a lot is that everyone gets swayed by one narrative of someone who's a superstar, which then means that, like, say the whole right wing of all this stuff over here is open because no one's doing it.
Yeah.
So like, this is where I think people need to see opportunities. If everyone's like going left, you need to go right, because it means there's going to be a hole in the market.
Exactly. I think James Smith also made a really good point about that. Like, he was like, you just don't want to be vanilla. He was like, you got to piss at least one crowd off in order to like nurture the other crowd.
Because you're going to pull those people in.
You got to pull in. So you just can't be too vanilla. Like, and so you can either have an approach, like a more empathetic approach, and then you can, I'd say we probably have a little bit more harder approaches,
100%.
a bit like hard work and do this. And me and Joe, Sean Casey, yeah, he was here. So we were sitting right here. We had a podcast and we were speaking about that. And like, he's very, empathetic, chilled, easygoing. Like, he's great advice. But we were talking about, like, he was saying the majority of his following, his demographic is female. Maybe they're like mums and stuff. You're not going to tell them to be like, work fucking harder. Yeah. Whereas my following is like 95% men.
Bro.
Yeah, they're men. They're it's great. It's fantastic because
that's who I speak to.
That's who I like. My people are always like, "What's your customer avatar?" And I'm like, "It's a fucking jacked lad in his 20s with a fade."
Yeah.
And so you got to realize who you're speaking to. But yeah, you can take a hard approach, more empathetic approach, but you just can't be in the middle.
But I also think your approach has to align with who you are. So the way I try and think about it is like, I'm trying to solve the problems of me 3 to 5 years ago, because I've developed the skills and solved those problems and slayed those dragons, that I can now solve that problem for guys who are in their 20s who want to get jacked, make money, travel the world, have time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, because I did it.
Exactly.
So I understand the hurdles you're going to overcome, and I can give you the direct, blunt approach that I would have wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like currently putting together like a course. It's going to be good, don't worry. So I was like sitting on it for so long. It was actually Adam Power kind of helped me with a little bit of guidance and give me the kick up the arse to go do it. Because everyone's always asking me for it as well. Like, my following is they're all jacked. They're all advanced trainees now. They all like know how to do push-pull legs and macros and all. Now they're guys that they want to make money and live a good life. So this is what I need to do next, pretty much. So I'd actually love to get your advice afterwards on that as well. I was really struggling with making the content. I was like, I put the camera up and I'm like, how do I structure this? Where do I go? Just literally make videos for 20-year-old Rob starting out in the industry, and that's it. So it's going to be like, how to like start out in the fitness industry and grow. And the reason I'm now comfortable with doing a course, the amount of fucking stupid kids who are selling courses on something they haven't done. No, they haven't done it. Like, it's impossible. They're like selling trading courses and they're 18, and it's like, you can't even sign up to the trading app. You literally haven't been a trader for 10 years, because then you would have been 8 years old. The only reason I'm comfortable doing it now is because I've put in my 10 years and I've actually walked the walk. So yeah, I'm doing that now at the moment, and I'm literally just making videos for my old self.
I think this is also something you said there as being congruent, because there's too many people who are trying to sell something they've never done. So it's like, from a training perspective, people are trying to sell how to get 6-pack abs. Yeah, you don't have fucking 6-pack abs. So it's like, get that first, and then you'll be able to sell how to get 6-pack abs.
Exactly.
But also you'll have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
But then I see the same thing from a business perspective. People are trying to teach people how to make 10K a month, but they can't make 10K a month themselves.
Exactly.
So it's like, fundamentally the market's always fucked in some respect. And this is also why there's huge amounts of skepticism, because people are like, they don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
And this is why I think the value of long form content, and why I like the vlog stuff, is like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll show inside of my life of like, there's my card, here's all these awards and all this shit, and just show, like, you can tell after a certain period of time, this, like, someone's not bullshit. And like, your life is clearly your life, and it's not like your house isn't fucking rented. Do you know what I mean? Like,
someone tried to say it was.
Do you know what I mean?
Someone tried to say it was, and like, I'm literally taking a hammer to the wall in vlogs. So I'm like, there's like a crane like, in the front garden bashing things down. And I'm like, do you really think I'm like renovating a rented house? But to go a little bit further on that is, you can detect it through the screen. So like, it's like if you're having an hour-long conversation, it's just impossible to not be real, pretty much. Because after 40 minutes or whatever, you're going to just let your guard down and people will be able to smell it.
And I'd give this, it's like in a sales perspective, you get commission breath, but you get the same thing with people who are trying to sell dog shit to people. And this is where people ruin their brand, though, because they're trying to spin from almost like one offer to another constantly. Whereas if you've seen someone's been in the same industry, done the same thing for a long period of time, this person's clearly about what they do. Like, you love fitness, I love fitness. Like, it's not like you just start going to the gym for 4 months and you're trying to sell people how to become a PT or like trainer online.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people are trying to do now.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so another thing as well, that if you want to grow in the industry and make more money and grow your business, just simply time in the market. Like just being in the industry, and people can just see like, oh, this guy he's not just gonna fuck off, you know, or run away on me. You know, he's here to stay pretty much. It's why you see like a restaurant and it says like ESD, you know, 1980. You know, they put that on their shop front for a reason. So like the longer that you're in an industry is you become a little bit more reputable. And you build that authority. I think that's what the word Phil Graham always uses as well. He says like authority, like building authority in your industry is really just good for selling.
Well, it's status, but I think it's not artificial status. You create status by an authority by success. So it's like, if you're a trainer and you're in good shape and you help loads of other people get in good shape, you're clearly an authority at what you do. Yes. And then like same thing, if you help people build a business and you've got your own really successful business and you've helped fucking loads of other people do it, you clearly know what you're doing. And this is where I think people just need to learn how to position themselves correctly. Whereas I think
that's a good word.
A mistake a lot of people make is they try and hide too much behind closed doors. So I'm very open in the fact that like we're doing a workshop here in Marbella on Friday. Like there is no agenda. Like it's 4 hours, you turn up, I'll just hammer it on a whiteboard. You can ask me any fucking question you want in terms of business online coaching. I do not care because I'll be able to answer anything.
Yes.
Because I have nothing I'm afraid of answering.
That's what you said there. So like the only thing I could like really answer anything on is fitness, and like even the fitness industry as well. I'm pretty good at that now. But so sometimes people are trying to like find their path in life. It's like, what's the one thing you can answer a question on everything? They just do that.
But that's true, because it's like, if you love that thing, it's then not work to actually get better at the thing. Because I like business. I'm a fucking nerd in some respects. So I like learning
about... for sure. I think it was me and Joss having a conversation about you. We're like, Charlie, he's got people doing phone, like answering phone calls. Like it's like the Wolf of Wall Street in the 90s or something. You're about that life. Like you are just like what your brand says, systems. Like you put systems in place. You know, that's like your thing.
But I put the systems in place because I want leverage, because I want like the lifestyle you have. Yeah. Do you know, like, and I have that lifestyle, but it's that's where I say to people, it's like, you can have your cake and eat it. And why I'm actually quite lazy, because I'll just look for the solution to get the leverage to get my time back. But then this is the really fucked up thing that I don't know if people can relate to listening to this, is then when I have my time back, a lot of times I was like, what do I do? Like I've got like loads of times and I'm just working because I'm passionate about what I do. So I just like learning and doing more stuff.
Exactly. I remember, so like going way back to when I was in school, I was like the worst in my year in school. No, like, I mean,
I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, and I got extreme ADHD. I can't spell. But you know what? They told me I had ADHD, and I was like, I can fucking concentrate for hours when I'm doing a podcast or when I'm like editing. I love that. When I get really into it, I can just 6 hours will fly by. I just fucking hated school. And so like a lot of these kids are made to believe like, oh, they're idiots or they got ADHD, and it's like, there's just not, they just haven't found what they love yet. And so I'd fail every exam. Like, I mean, every exam I was like, there was 75 people in my year, I was number 75. Like they ranked it. And so I was always terrible at that, and I never passed the exam. And then it came to my personal trainer exam, and I didn't even study. And I got like 100%. Like
because you're passionate about it.
Exactly. I was watching like Alan Aragon videos, Brad Schoenfeld, Matt Ogus, like the Hodge twins. I knew like an answer to just everything from actually just watching YouTube. So when it came along to doing that exam, like, you know, anatomy, physiology, endocrinology, nutrition, everything, like, I was like, oh, this is fun. I was like, this is the shit. So once you find that thing that you can just answer a question on anything, then you're good to go.
How would you say some people should find a thing they're passionate about? Because I think, and I've heard Chris Williamson talk about this before, I'm not trying to steal his quote, but like the issue is that people, they don't do anything long enough to get good enough to get passionate about it. Because when you start anything, you're going to be generally really shit. So like you have to get to some level of competence to then be good, to then start to enjoy the thing. So like, for example, wakeboarding is like, if you're going to try wakeboarding and you can't get up on the wakeboard, you're going to fucking hate it.
Yes.
But then when you start...
the other day. Literally.
But when you get up and you're like, oh, this is quite fun, you then start to get passionate about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely. So that's like a fantastic way to look at it. And that's 100% true. And Gary Vee also has like, you know, his take on that that is just try loads of different things and just see what you can envision yourself sticking to. For example, I actually thought before like I got into fitness that I wanted to be in the nightlife industry. Like I wanted to work in like own a nightclub or like, you know, working as a bartender. I actually was a bartender in Marbella in Puerto Venus when I was like 18 down in a, oh god, it's the worst bar. It's like Flicks or something.
Fuck me. I know I used to go there.
Sky Bar.
That's even worse.
Yeah. It is even worse. Yeah, so that was me.
Above the ice cream place.
That's exactly it. Yeah, so that's where I worked for a summer. And it was funny. I actually I was walking.
What year was that?
It would have been.
Don't say 2008 or something.
It could, no, 2008. I would have been like 15. So it would have been like maybe 2010. Okay, but a little bit after 2011 even. And so I actually I was walking there the other night with Linda. We just finished dinner, and one of the guys he was like, "Hey, coming in for a few shots?" And I was like, I had a few drinks. I was like, you know, this was me once upon a time. But it's so crazy to see. But anyways, to go back to the question, you got to try a load of different things. And, you know, I wanted to be in the nightlife industry because I loved going out and drinking and getting wasted. And so I thought that was me. And now I'm ended up finding my passion in the complete opposite, health and fitness, not going out. Yeah, obviously I go out sometimes, but far less than I would if I was working in the nightlife industry. So you just got to try a few different things and kind of see, okay, what am I going to do long term, you know? But don't be disheartened if you think, you know, you try out a few different things and it doesn't work out, you know? So don't think that you have to find one thing and stick at it forever.
What I would say there that's really important, I took from that, it just reminded me, is that the amount of things I tried and failed, and then I eventually got successful. So I failed pretty much as a personal trainer 18, 19. I fucking hated it. I worked at the first gym group in 2008. I struggled to get clients. I was making a bit of money, hated it. Then went into ski season, was a ski instructor for 6 months.
No way.
Yeah, random.
That's a random.
I'm actually really sick at skiing.
All right,
but
nice. Out in Dubai.
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, you can in Dubai.
Yeah, you can.
It's just boring because it's like one slope.
Yeah.
I came back and then became an estate agent and crushed it doing that for 6 years. But
yeah, I saw that. I always forget that.
And that was my background. And that's originally what's interesting is when I first did that job as an estate agent, I fucking struggled so badly to the point where I remember maybe 3 days in, I remember hearing other people talk about me what the fuck is wrong with him? Why is he not answering the phone when it rings after 3 times? I didn't know I had to pick up the phone because no one told me to pick up the phone. So I was like, I didn't fucking know. But after a while, I became really fucking good and started to crush it because I was naturally competitive. Yeah. And I became manager after 3 years and then was managing people 50 years old, which I understand the gift that gave me because I then have all the skills from that previous career, which helped me with what I do now. But in that time before I left my full-time job, I had a couple of other shitty businesses that I tried. One is I lost a load of money Forex trading. That's similar to the thing that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Just don't do that. Crypto is a good thing, but that's another thing to go into. And then secondly is I set up a business trying to sell CBD online.
There was the CBD craze.
Yeah, I was in on that hype.
Yeah.
So, and I definitely didn't do that. And then this is why when you find something this is actually really fucking simple, you then just need to go all in on it. If you find something that's you can see the possibility, and the possibility is when you get that first sale, it's holy fucking shit, someone actually just paid me for this.
I know. Best feeling in the world. I remember my first ever online sale was it was PayPal, and I was selling an ebook on roblipsett.com, little Fisher Price website. So
bro, mine's still up, CharlieJohnsonFitness.com.
Yeah. I was how did you even find the link? You know?
People still buy mine.
I know, I get the odd one as well, mainly the app, but anyways. But so I sold that, and it came true, and I got a notification on my phone. It was €30 to buy the ebook, and it's the best feeling ever. You know, you never forget your first sale.
And what I say with that though is it's proof of concept, because it's if you can do it once, it means you can do it again. You can just need to do more of it and do it better at higher prices. Yeah, and then you're it gives you the belief, because the big thing you lack at the beginning is the belief. Yeah.
So one thing I actually this helped me actually make my first mill was when I made 100K. I was I just have to do that 10 more times. That's literally it. And have you ever seen, it's this graphic, and it's if you want to make a certain amount per year, it's sell a product X amount of times. You know the one. It's fantastic, and it's the most simple thing in the world. But I saw that, and I was as if it was some mind blowing thing, but it just really motivated and simplified it for me. That it is, if you do something, you're oh, I just have to do that 10 more times. Or even you gain a pound of muscle. You're I just have to do that 10 more times. or just 9 more times. It's just so easy when you break it down and this stops getting overwhelming.
The problem with what you just said, which everyone will struggle with listening to this, is it's actually too fucking simple and it's boring. Because business is very, very boring. And naturally we get the inherent red shiny object of like, I need to go and do this fucking shiny strategy over here of LinkedIn ads or this fucking TikTok thing or whatever bullshit it is. And the reality is like, if you have something that's working, there's 2 ways you get it to grow more: is you just do more volume of it, or you do better and improve the thing.
Exactly.
And you stay consistent just doing that. And then you get to like the million or whatever you want.
Do you remember when I was doing a talk at your thing, I was like, MRR, churn. I was like, you can churn butter. You can't churn a business. I was like, I don't pay attention to any of that shit. Yeah, just keep pumping. So that's exactly it. Like, I'm a very simple man. You know, as I said, the old school results weren't the best, probably still the same, but you know, that's it. Like, when you just really simplify things down and you get to a certain point, you get a little bit of results, go, oh, I'm just gonna do that 10 more times.
What do you think is the biggest piece of advice you could give to anyone listening to this that could help them take the next leap in their life, whether it's like in their fitness or in their business, that maybe they're in a position they're like, where I think most people are, is like they're coasting?
Yeah, you just gotta look at your day to day, or even your week to week, like your whole routine, and you gotta say, I gotta do something different. I gotta do something like drastically different. Like, I gotta throw a fucking spanner in the works, or else you're literally just gonna coast and you're gonna fall into this like this sleep, this kind of daydreaming haze where you're kind of just not really realizing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So you need to have a little think and just do something completely out of routine. Maybe like, you know, start a new project, go to somewhere new, just something that takes you out of your daily routine. And that's how you kind of spark something new.
It's interesting you say that. So the one thing for me that does that, one of my big passions, similar to you, is travel.
Oh yeah.
So I inherently find I get really bored after like 5-6 weeks when I'm somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm in this weird paradigm of where I crave routine and structure, yet I need to travel because I get bored.
Exactly.
Which is a bit of a fucking weird situation. But I notice I actually end up traveling every 6 weeks or so to try and get into a new environment or like a new stimulus, because I find otherwise what happens is you almost live the same day over and over again.
Yeah,
I go to the gym the same day.
Exactly.
I eat the same fucking thing. Like, you like, the bro, like chicken and rice. Chicken and rice. Like, chest on Monday, they like.
Exactly.
So it's
like, my advice is just to do something different, break that routine, break that monotony, and that'll do a lot for your actual brain. And yeah, you always move around. Like, how long have you been in Marbella for now?
2 months, maybe?
Okay, you've been a long time. I'm actually going to Dubai on Tuesday.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I got to do a little visa run. That's 6 months.
Yeah.
But I'm actually looking forward to it. I also
actually want to go back for a week just to like...
I've never been there in the summer.
Bro, it's bad.
I know. I'm kind of excited. Joss is there. Like, there's a few people I know there. I'm probably just gonna go
for a week. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go for a week. I have to like get a new bank card and everything, and they're very secure. You have to be there. I'm like, you can just send it to me, and they're like, no.
No, if you want to cancel a bank card at Dubai, you have to go into the branch.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And then I'm with Weo, so they don't even have a branch. So I'm going there on Tuesday. I'm actually staying in Adam's apartment, and he
actually lives 2 floors up from me.
Perfect. I'll knock down into your gaff.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Say hello to my cats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, water the plants. But so I'm going there on Tuesday, and then just straight back to Marbella. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
How do you find the comparison between Marbella and Dubai?
Very similar. Like, it's sick gyms, sick weather, sick beach clubs, the same like Nobu. You can have the same menu.
Yeah.
If you want. It's like, we need our black cod. It's very similar. The only thing that I didn't like about Dubai, or that I prefer about Marbella, is like you spend 90% of your time in Dubai in Ubers and hotels. Like, if you go to a restaurant and you're in a hotel, and if you want to get around, you can't walk anywhere because it's a motorway. I was staying in like the Habtoor Grand Resort, and to go across to Adams, just like a few meters across the road, but you have to get an Uber. So it's just a little bit like you can't walk through the town square. Really, like sometimes you feel a little bit artificial, but like I still love Dubai, and like it's great for what it does.
Yeah, I think it's a very unique city. I think interestingly, me, Adam, and James Blackwell, I remember speaking in Paris at a mastermind event we went
Paris.
to. Yeah, it was random. And we were speaking out in this street, and then we all suddenly came to the same realization that Dubai inherently almost stresses us all out, because it's like fucking dopamine overload of like extreme wealth, extreme money, like beautiful women everywhere.
Yeah,
like your brain's like fried constantly of dopamine of like almost comparison syndrome of not enough sometimes, which is why that sometimes is a blessing and a curse, which actually is another thing why I think for anyone watching this, traveling around the world gives you a lot of perspective.
Yeah.
Because when you live in a bubble like Dubai, I drive into our car park and it's like Bugatti, Rolls Royce, that becomes normal, right? And it's like, that massively skews your perspective in a good way, but you also have to understand what the rest of the world is like sometimes.
Exactly. And one thing I like about Marbella, obviously it's super glitz, you know, severe wealth here as well. But you can go down to Victor's Beach and there's an old Spanish man fishing.
Yeah,
you know, and or just this retired guy with grey hair sipping like this shitty cup of beer.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's kind of like a little beach town as well. And you can also live really cheaper. Like you can do your Mercadona, you can chill out in your garden or whatever, and you can just go to the beach for free. Whereas like in Dubai, you can't even like go to the beach unless it's like JBR, and which is a nightmare. Or JBR, not the marina, JBR. If you want to go to like the Palm, you know what's it called, East Palm or something. You got to pay to be on that beach, you know. You can't just walk on. So it's crazy. You know, it's definitely more expensive, and in Marbella, you can kind of save a little bit as well. Live a bit more humbly.
I think the problem with spending money in Dubai, it's too easy. So it's like, if I want a massage, I go on WhatsApp and I get someone to come in an hour. If want
what type of massage is that? Is it?
The extra deep tissue.
Sounds legit.
Me and my girlfriend have it at the same time. It's a special one. And then, like, you want to go on like Insta Shop, you can order food delivery, like Deliveroo, like anything is on your fucking fingers. Like, you want drugs from a pharmacy delivered, you can get that delivered at like whatever you want. It's extreme convenience, but it's then very easy to spend money. But some of the things are retarded. It's even like coffee. I love like, we both have a huge affinity for caffeine. Coffee here costs fucking nothing and it's amazing. It's like €2. Dubai, it's like €10 for fucking, it's wild.
You know, it's nuts. Like I hate to say this, you go on your banking app and it's like the monthly spend, whatever. I spent, I think it was €30,000. Obviously that was with hotels and flights and stuff. I spent like €30,000 in a month. So yeah, I'm on that.
I was not saying,
I was taking a piss out of you. And when you were saying that, I was like,
but like realistically, in my opinion, for anyone watching this, if you want to have free, like my whole thing is I want to do what I want, when I want, with who I want. 30 to 50K a month.
Yeah.
Because I want to probably spend 10 grand a month traveling, probably 10 grand a month for wherever I live, 10 grand a month to fuck around and eat out and do whatever.
Yeah. But I've made a huge expense on restaurants and I don't regret it. I'm like consciously, I don't want to cut down on it. But I love eating out.
But this is also the thing is like, money isn't real to some respects, and also like you can't take it with you.
Yeah, you always get it back.
But the experiences that you're going to have through life are the most important thing. So like you want to work hard to make money to buy the experiences. Like I remember I went on a ski trip to Vail in Colorado for my birthday. It was like a childhood dream I wanted to do. It was on my like vision board on my phone. Thing maybe cost like $40,000 for this fucking holiday. It was wild. Dude,
that's a lot.
Dude, you think massage is bad? I feel bad saying this. I spent $1,000 on a massage for two of us in this fucking ski resort.
What? It better have been a good massage.
It was fucking good, but like, you know, like this is
still just like touching you.
It wasn't that type of massage. It was fucking retarded. But like the memories I have from that was worth the money because those are things you will never forget. And I think that's where people sometimes, if they want to have an all-round maxed out life, you want the memories, not just materialistic shit.
Yeah. Question, is there anything that over the last couple of years that you've spent money on that you regret?
This is a weird thing sometimes I think about, is the amount of money I've spent on like business class flights.
Oh man.
So sometimes like if I just flew economy, like
I'm not mad for them.
No, but I'm not, because the way I justify it in my head is like, if I just work hard on the plane, I know I can make the money back.
Yes.
And then also I'm like...
And then you just like fucking drink and watch movies for 8 hours. You're like, fuck.
So here's an inside hack for anyone who lives in Dubai. If you get an Emirates NBD Skywards card, and also if you spend a lot of money on Facebook ads, you can then get fucking shitloads of points. And then I just upgraded to go first class to LA recently. I go first class a lot because I can upgrade on the points. And it's fucking baller, but they end up like overfeeding you to the point where it's like,
I know,
you can have as much as you want. So I'll have like 4 fillet steaks, fucking prawns, like whatever and you get off the plane and you feel like sick.
Fillet steaks.
Dude, it's a long flight.
200 grams of protein.
Yeah, bro, like every meal. I was like, every 2 hours I need to like, but they legit, they would bring it for you. But I think for me, do I regret spending anything? Not really. The thing I bought a car recently that was really expensive. So I spent...
What car?
Ferrari 488.
Where is it?
In Dubai. Okay, this is...
you can bring it here.
Dude, I probably do it next year.
Yeah, you should, yeah. It's actually not that hard.
It wasn't probably the best decision, like financially, but it was something that was a childhood bucket list thing I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't buy the things you want when you can, like, what's the fucking point? Because putting more money in the bank or buying more investment properties and more crypto doesn't add any value to my life. But like, me smiling like a fucking kid fucking around like with the flappy paddle gearboxes going to the gym, it's like, it's fucking a blast, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Like that for me is like the big thing that makes me smile, because I like cars. And I think that's where one of the things we have limiting beliefs, I think, as we see more success, is we're not worthy and we don't let ourselves buy the watch, buy the car, like have the business class flights. Whereas actually I think you start to upgrade your mindset when you start to actually have those things when you can actually afford them.
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of people try and buy them before they should, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know, but that's like pretty much society summed up. I think the only thing I ever regret, like, spend my money on, if it's like the end of the month and I'm like, fuck's sake, it's like tables and clubs.
Yeah.
I
Actually, when I was
fucking
younger,
hate that, because I like love staying in. Like, I don't really like nightclubs, especially nowadays. And like, I used to drink way more when I was a bit younger. Now I'm like kind of gone off it a little bit, you know. And so yeah, if I like, or spend like loads on like cocktails, like sometimes me and Linda went down to the plaza the other night, a little date night. I do love people watching there. We've got like 4 cocktails. The bill comes over to €150. I was like, that is so stupid. Like, that is like for little like 4 sips, you know. It's like it's like the groceries, you know. It's so funny. But stuff like that, like, you know, drinks and tables and stuff. But apart from that, like travel and even like buying a nice shirt, or like the villa is like the best thing I've ever spent money on. I absolutely love that. Not only has it gone up 4x in value, but like I just love it every day. And like, I literally work from there. I do podcasts there as well. Like, that's been the best purchase I've ever made, and obviously the biggest purchase ever. But yeah, the only thing I really regret spending money on would be like, just stupid shit like tables and stuff. But I never regret like flights or hotels.
I would say to anyone watching this, put as much money as you physically can into the place you live.
Yeah.
Or your environment.
Yeah.
So like, I won't stay in shit Airbnbs, I won't stay in shit hotels.
It's not
because
worth it.
the way that affects the way you think and feel. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're in some fucking wanky Airbnb because you want to save 500 quid, but you're taking sales calls and your energy's off, and then you don't close a sale that's $3,000 because your energy's a bit
exactly. I remember the first thing that like I ever, like, this is really at the beginning, like I hated my living situation. I was in like shared accommodation, so like living with people, and I'd be like trying to cook a meal, and some fucking drunk Eastern European would come in and be like starting a fight on me. I get stuff stolen out of my room and everything. This is in Ireland. I get literally a laptop stolen out of my room, cash stolen out of my room, and just terrible living situation. So I'm like, the first thing when I can afford to move out into like a nice apartment, like just something clean and looks modern. You can see all this, like me moving in and everything. I'm like, the second I'm able to do that, I'm doing that. Like, living situation. Even like, so I was renting at the time. Obviously now I don't rent anymore. But even renting, like, yeah, you know, you can say it's just fucking gone. Not really. It's important. You know, I really don't regret moving into a nice place as soon as possible.
I think that is one of the biggest things that will make you think bigger when you're in a better environment where you live.
Yeah, and when you wake up every day and like it's the kitchen's clean and you have a little coffee.
There's something about a clean kitchen,
bro. I'm like a clean freak. You should see my
yeah.
fucking place. Because someone came in there like this, like Patrick Bateman's house. It's so organized. Like, you know, I get like a cleaner usually at least once a week, and again, money well spent. But yeah, your living environment. Just when I wake up in the morning. And that's also like my biggest luxury is a slow morning. You know, I know you probably get up fucking on calls. I wake up, I ease myself, I get my caffeine intake flowing. I take all my supplements and everything, and I'll go on my phone and have a little browse through, but nothing too serious. And just a little slow morning. I'm like, oh, will I have an energy drink this morning? Will I have coffee?
Both.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, usually one after the other. Yeah, stack. But just love a slow morning and a nice clean kitchen. Yeah.
But that again is the thing of life by design. You can choose how to structure your week, and that's how I even try and look on, like, if you look at like a day like that, I look over a week perspective of like the way I work is like Monday is like a sacrificial lamb of like, this is the fucking day of meetings that's just, this day's just fucking gone. And I will sacrifice Monday to the business to like organize shit and run everyone.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the week I'll do is I please and structure how I want.
Yeah.
And I think that's where for me is I have an all-in mentality of like, I then also know what hat I have to wear in every day. So like Wednesday, like today, for example, generally, would you be filming content? So like my thing today is to film content, be in that right headspace, be creative. And it's easier for you to run a business from that perspective rather than where most people are like dipping their toe in too many different things every day.
Yeah, and do you like? What are your weekends like? Do you like? Do you
I
go
love to
take it
travel.
off?
Yeah,
Or
no,
like,
I'll always work. So my big thing is I'd like to just like an hour or two because like I just like doing something because I feel productive.
Yeah.
And I would say that the secrets of my success, particularly at the beginning, is I used to fucking crush work at the weekend. So I get so far ahead of everyone else. Because if you don't work at the weekends, that's 12 weeks. That's a quarter of the year, bro.
Oh man! So when I was working a 9 to 6 office job, yeah, I had a funny realization yesterday. I'm like, what time do you go to the post office at? I'm like, how do I go to the post office? Like, I literally had a letter to send for like months, and I couldn't because you get off at 5, the post office is closed, and then on the weekends it's like you've no time. Exactly. And so basically, if you're like working a job you hate right now, maybe you're working 9 to 5 and you don't like it, you need to utilize your weekends. It's just
that's the sacrificial lamb.
That's the sacrificial lamb right there. But if you're not utilizing the only time off you have, like full days, if you're getting pissed on those days and going out, you're just never going to break that cycle.
And if you choose your suffering, so like you choose to suffer now by sacrificing your weekends to work, or you suffer the rest of your life having the fucking 9 to 6 job where you can't pick your poison, right? So like for me, I'd rather suffer proverbially really hard for a year or two. And then for the next 40 years of your life, you have a life of abundance and choice and freedom.
There you go. Awesome.
I think that's a good note to finish on.
Perfect. Here, bro. I'm glad we didn't stick to this point whatsoever.
I knew you weren't going
to. That's always the sign of a good episode, a good podcast when you just start going off. But it's smashed it today.
100%. Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
YouTube, Rob Lipsett.
Easy
you search that and you'll find absolutely everything. You know, some people when they get asked that, they're like, www. Yeah, they give all that shit. It's Rob Lipsett on YouTube. That's it.
Awesome. If everyone took a ton of value from the podcast, make sure you share this with a friend who takes some value and inspiration from myself and Rob. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next episode very soon.